Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Hans. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend and happy Cinco de Mayo. Hope everyone's having a blast and fun. But hey, stay safe and healthy. I mean, hey, instead of paying $1,000 to get arrested, or go to jail, just call your friends, use Uber or Lyft, anything to get back home, or use common sense. Basically, um, but yeah, please don't drink and drive. Also, guys, we got a special guest host today, Scott, Loer. He's actually an amazing host, though. If you guys probably please follow him on X, Twitter, and other social media. Great guy. So we're going to talk about the education and wilderness, what's going on in New Jersey, what's bothering, and get an insight, but also letting guys know. I mean, as a guest on the show, this is not an endorsement whatsoever. It's just to have a conversation. What's going on. Also, guys, I'm going to introduce you to Scott. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Hans.
Welcome. So, anyway, can you let the folks know who you are? I mean, what's going on? I mean, talk about what's going on in New Jersey. What's education? I mean, I've seen a lot of parents kind of been bothered with the teachers union and stuff going on. So it's pretty good to see what's happening, though.
Yeah. So, I'm nobody. I'm just a drifter on social media, started meeting people on X and stuff like that. I was recruited for my views as a conservative to the Franklin Lakes K through 8 Board of Education. And it's been fun, it's been a little bit of a wild ride. At first, we didn't have a conservative majority on the board, but after a few years, a few new candidates, and pushing certain policies and getting rid of others, things seem to have stabilized. There's still a lot of work to do, and I feel like moving forward, I probably will only have 2.5 years left. I did get reelected. Each term is about 3 years, so I'm kind of done with it. My kids are going to be out of the district, but I really do hope that the trend continues and that parents do get more involved, because the less they are involved, things seem to go off the rails. So I was very happy to be recruited and be involved with the election, and I thank everybody for voting me in, and I thank everybody for reelecting me for a second term. We did some good work, and that was really good, and we're continuing to do the work. And that's basically, the gist of it. That's the general. But happy Cinco de Ported, and I'm very happy to be here on your show talking to you and everybody.
Yeah, anyway, congratulations on the re-elections. Yeah, I agree with you. Oh yeah, sorry, I was spitting my coffee almost. But yeah, anyway, congratulations, since you guys did a lot of hard work, but kind of wondering, what's it like, going on though? I mean, as a board member and a lot of parents, have you guys kind of been attacked by the teachers union from the state, or like any major impacts, like
the teachers union is sometimes tough to deal with, but I feel, we just had a contract negotiation with the teachers. We renegotiated their contract with the union. I was on the negotiations committee for that one. It seemed to go pretty smooth. We were very generous. Okay, I think the teachers in our district are probably benefiting the most. They're treated very well. We do care about our teachers. We want to see them do well, and we believe that they deserve to be compensated for that, but not without being responsible. I thought that it was a good deal. It was a good contract, and yeah. So dealing with them hasn't been that bad. As far as other things go, I would say the biggest friction that we have really is just the culture. So there's what I wasn't prepared for as a board member, because I'm also a business owner. You go in there thinking that now you're on the board, you're going to get to crack the whip a little bit, but it's not like that. There's a real separation, and the superintendent acts sort of like a buffer. So we don't really get to crack the whip as much as we'd like. We have to rely on a superintendent for that. We do have a good relationship with our superintendent. I would say he's very good. But at the same time, he has to he has to navigate waters also. There's a culture there in the school that he probably respects a little more than I do, and sometimes there's a little tug of war, but I believe that we've overcome those hurdles and we have a much better understanding now, and he recognizes where the needle has moved, what the trends are, where things are going, and in that respect, it's good. But I was hoping for a little more swifter results. Being on the board and being able to move things. It's that's government for you. So I got a taste of it. I understand that things move really slow. They move really slow. So in that respect, it's unfortunate. But we kept our foot on the gas and we kept going, and that's what the job does. That's what the job was. So we are where we are, and good.
Yeah. Have you guys ever got anything negative? I mean, I know some teachers said that
Oh,
some of them
absolutely.
were scared. Some were scared to have a voice because they care about the education for kids, but unfortunately, some said they might get pressured, by the state, that kind of thing. Because unfortunately, because what's today, how we've seen a lot of indoctrinations and wokeness, but I mean, there's some that's kind of fears to speak up. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
I,
There
yeah,
there are teachers that I know I haven't had personal conversation with, but I know from other people, whether it's moms on the PTA or just other people in my circle. I know that there are plenty of teachers that don't agree with this woke garbage, and they do their best to try and leave that stuff out. Okay. Unfortunately, there is a flip side to that coin, and those are the ones that we don't hear about until it's too late. Something has happened or something was taught.
yeah,
With my kids, they all know, and they make fun of, and they bring that news home. Okay. And they say, Dad, you're not going to believe what this teacher thought, or, like the ditto here, we're bringing home these sheets. Look at the crap that they're trying to teach us. So, like my kids have already been raised right, and they know to look out for this stuff. But a lot of parents, they're not politically involved. They're too busy. They have their job. It doesn't come natural to them. Maybe it wouldn't have come natural to me. Who knows? I kind of fell into this. I was actually talking with a friend about this the other day. I voted for Obama. I was politically ignorant about a lot of stuff, and one day I'm watching the news, and I'm asking myself, what the hell is all this going on? Like, why are these things happening under the administration? He pulled the wool over my eyes. I never wanted that to happen again. I'm watching one station versus another, talking about the same story, and you could sense the bias, and that's when my eyes were open. But getting back to the teachers and the culture, um, it's a fight. There are some teachers who are with us. There are some teachers who ignore us. I was talking to my father today, and he had gotten a phone call from a friend of his in a completely other district that knew somebody, and he was asking me, Scott, can you please tone it down? Okay, the teachers in your district, I just heard from somebody, they don't like you. They hate you. You know, they don't like you. They don't like your views. They don't like your podcast. And I said, hey, Dad, I wear that as a badge of honor. Okay, that's why I was elected. And believe me, sometimes it's a little bit reactive, so you get those reactions from people. But just a few weeks ago, someone met my mother, didn't realize it was my mother. And when they found out who her son was, they're like, oh, Scott, yeah, we like Scott. So when you get into politics, it's a 50-50 thing. Half the people are going to love you, half the people are going to hate you.
yeah. Obviously, you done something right, which they get mad about.
I think so. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you can't always. I mean, not everybody gets what they want, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're doing what's right, for the kids and the parents. Wherever teachers, you want to make sure it's all about the education for the kids. If
Yeah.
future, Because I know a lot of
Well,
people want to.
for me, the education is supposed to be STEM. Is supposed to stick to English, math, science, history. Okay, don't get into the woke bullshit. Don't get
Mhm.
into the social agendas and all that stuff. Leave that to the parents. Okay, you want to talk about DEI and diversity? I don't like that. I don't want my kids getting a lesson in that. You need to keep the classroom civil because something's going on. Whatever happened to just treat people the way you want to be treated, and if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. I think that those are very simple rules, and that's all we have to really focus on. When it comes to the other stuff, yeah, everyone's going to think differently and have a different agenda. So I don't like that pushed on our children. And I'm not trying to bring my stuff into the school either. It's not like I'm telling them you better hang up this Trump Vance 2024 flag out on the on the front lawn of the
Wow.
school. It should just be a vanilla shell. Okay, keep everybody's politics and religion at home and just learn the stuff and teach the stuff that are going to give our kids the tools to go out there into the world and succeed, get a job, be a contributor to society. We don't need all this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I could tell you the truth. I mean, I graduated from Cranford in 2006. A lot of stuff was way different back then versus today. I mean, I don't know. I think
Oh
it
yeah.
started with Obama started or between Trump. I'm not sure how that happened because we were taught how to write cursive, math, English, independence studies. They taught us how to write a check, get a jobs, get out in the real world, how to survive.
All right.
Like write a check and how to write a rebate survey. Like they're teaching us all the basic stuff, tech ed and wood class. But unfortunately, I mean, I guess after I graduated, we've seen things going downhill. With the
My
culture
sense
and
is that it
norms today.
definitely started under Obama. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean, I'm sure you remember 8 years ago, you remember Virginia, right? A lot of school board members or teachers were calling the feds on the parents, because they're
Yeah.
concerned. I mean, I'm sure we haven't seen much concern recently in New Jersey, right? I mean, because it's scary. A lot of parents, they all care about their kids and education, but it's like it's crazy. Even the feds, got involved just because parents were concerned about what's going on in the schools.
Yeah, they were branding them terrorists. What was his name? The attorney general with an M. He just had sour grapes. I forget what his name was. That
Forgot what
doesn't
it
matter.
was. I'm not sure. We had a lot of them.
Hold on.
But yeah, I mean, even Nick Freitas. I mean, I'm sure you heard of Nick Freitas. Out of Virginia. Delegate. I mean, he actually spoke on the stage and calling out the concerns about the board of about the parents' concerns. I mean, he did speak a lot. He was a very liberty minded guy. I mean, he encouraged a lot of parents to apply. Run for school boards. So it's good. A lot of parents are fighting back because I guess Democrats were running. You know, School boards to take over to fit their agendas, but a lot of
Oh
parents
yeah,
woke up and now they're all running because they got tired of it, kind of thing. So it seems like there's a lot of agendas everybody knows.
it was Merrick Garland. Okay,
Merrick
I
Garland,
knew that
oh
there was an
god,
M in there somewhere. Yeah, it was Merrick Garland. Okay, and yeah, they did that. They sent the FBI there. Some of the agents, they were terrorizing those school board meetings. Wanted to silence parents, and that was bad for them because then you're just going to get pushback. People don't like to be silenced, so they go ahead and they
exactly,
run and they yeah, get these people out. And now the school boards was the first sign that things were going to start changing in the country. It all started on a grassroots level where the you know the needle started shifting. Like the culture started shifting from blue to red. When you see parents getting involved at the lowest levels of government, all these school board districts, they started flipping from blue to red very quickly. And that was even
exactly. I
before I
mean,
started on the board. That was happening before I started. I just caught that wave.
Yeah, I accommodate you for like as a parent running for school board. I mean, we need more parents, you know what's going on because parents are getting weird permission slips, knowing what's going on and who to concern. So it's always good to get parents involved on the school board because they just want to know what's being taught in the system, though. But yeah, actually, with Garland, I'm sure a lot of stuff has improved, like in New Jersey, right? Like no issues, like no offense.
There were no feds at our board meetings, so
Okay,
we're okay with
that's
that.
good. Yeah, I mean, imagine we did though. We had to call Alina Haba about that happens though.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy though. Also, too, let me see what else is going on here though. Even like what's going on with today in education, do you think a lot of stuff has been approved or do you think it's kind of slowly shifting?
Uh, like what stuff are you talking about?
In general, I know under Trump administration today, I know they're talking about they want to eliminate DEI and other issues, and also they want to
Oh yeah, well,
dismantle Department of
I'm actually
Education.
on the policy committee, so some of that stuff we're about to take a look at. Um, we took care of that last year. We took care of a lot of it, and I plan on forging ahead with more of it now that we have the support of the executive branch of government in order to do that. Yeah, for sure, we're going to drive that home.
That's a good win. I mean, I know unfortunately with Attorney General Plotkin that he's trying to resist, what's going on though. Like I know he's trying to file lawsuits against the school districts and the boards, because they're not fitting the agendas, what Plotkin wants. I mean, I'm sure you guys are fighting back to what's going on, right?
Like I said, a lot of it is very hard because there's a buffer. You have to deal with
Yeah.
people in between the board and the teachers. Okay, so there's a superintendent, and then there's a building principal. Um, there are just a lot of factors, and things move kind of slowly. I wish that they'd move faster. Um, there are certain things or certain ways we want as a board for the staffers, the teachers. There's a certain way where you can relay information to kids and still be within the parameters of the curriculum and delivering the curriculum to meet the standards of the state. Okay. But there are always going to be those teachers who take liberty with the classroom and how they run things. And I understand there has to be that. You can't shackle them in chains. There has to
Mhm.
be a little give because you want a teacher to be able to shine and do it their way. Like some teachers, like are just better off the cuff. Some teachers, need things scripted. Some teachers have a certain story to tell. Everyone has their methods. It's basically, okay, here's the information. Are we getting it across to the students? Are these students going to be successful? The way you're doing
Mhm.
it. Are they meeting the qualifications? Can they pass the tests? You know, um, so it it's been a little difficult because after COVID, it's been a little difficult to gauge with the
Yeah.
standardized testing from year to year because of the dip that many districts suffered in education due to COVID. But we're
Yeah.
slowly getting over that hump like every other district.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you during COVID, I could tell you it's been scary though. I mean, like I remember all the kids were stuck watching on Zoom the whole time, what's
Yeah, I
going on
thought it was
staring at the
ridiculous.
screen all day. And
Yeah.
even the scores, even like it was weird though, like even the scores went down at lowest in New Jersey in the country,
Yeah,
because
New Jersey was pretty bad. Yep.
yes. So with all the stuff, I guess since everyone got rid of Zoom and going back, do you feel like the scores kind of improved on the education slowly, or is it kind of like still
They
like
have, it's been slow, and I think in some areas maybe certain people may have been lazy, but it's slowly coming back.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of teachers losing their jobs because they got in trouble, because parents caught them. So hopefully the schools, protect the students, the parents make sure there's nothing going on crazy though.
Right.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
my mission, close to my heart, is always been more the culture in the school,
Mhm.
getting rid of the DEI, okay, getting rid of the making diversity, you know, at putting diversity at the forefront and making that the primary part of education instead of English, math, and social studies and science and all that stuff. That for me has been the biggest distraction and more of a reason than COVID why the kids are suffering in their education, why the test scores are so low. I attribute it to that, not to COVID.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's been my mission. And also the just the culture in the school. Like what kind of signage do we have? What kind of banners? What kind of messages? They hijack the rainbow, all that stuff. Like why are we sexualizing kids? I don't want these conversation starters about things that are inappropriate for a K through 8 age group. That shit does not belong in the classroom. I apologize
exactly. Yeah.
about the
Oh no,
language.
it's okay.
It
Oh no,
just
it's
gets me.
okay. I mean, I
We're
mean,
good. All
plus
right.
we're fine there. I've heard a lot of worse things since unfiltered. So I mean, I would if
But that's
cancel
basically
culture,
what it
I'd
is.
ignore them.
That's basically what it is. I mean, in our town pretty much leans red. It's not the worst. This is more of a Republican town. Unfortunately, the Republicans don't come out to vote when they should in this town. Okay, we have a really low turnout, but it does lean red. And even in a lean red town, you would think when you walk into the public library, why during Pride Month? I mean, I already hate that there's a Pride Month. I hate that we're attributing months or celebrating, diversities and all these cultures like that. I hate that. But okay, a whole month dedicated to this nonsense. Why do we have drag queen story hour? Okay, why do we have a whole mural, okay, a shrine when you walk in the front doors at the public library in my town during Pride Month? Do you have a whole display of books that are right in front of kids' faces walking into the library? Not appropriate. For me, that's sexualizing kids. Shouldn't be like that. I've spoken up about it, but I'm not on the board over there. I'm not on the town. I can only control, or at least try to control, what's going on in the schools.
Yeah, it's crazy though. Also, too, I mean, I'm sure you've seen other towns library they post about the drag story, but they said they got canceled last minute due to backlash and pressure from the public. So I've seen a
Good.
lot of parents speak up about it. I mean, I'm sure you saw like on social media and Twitter. I mean, which is good. I mean, even it's weird though. You walk. I mean, like you said, there's a Pride Month, but a lot of people question why don't they have instead of one day on a Monday to celebrate Veterans Day, why not do the whole month to honor veterans? Like, I'm saying, like, something
I
like
don't think
that.
you
I
need a
mean,
month to honor
just
anything.
saying, like,
If people want
honor,
a day
yeah,
to celebrate something, I don't care. But it's like all this stuff is getting shoved down our throat. I was just
exactly.
watching something yesterday. I'm Jewish. I was watching something yesterday, and I see something on the television. Something flashed in the middle of a commercial. Happy Jewish Heritage Month or something like that. I'm like, what happened? All of a sudden, we got a month. Really? It pisses me off actually. I don't want it. Why am I getting it? Who's next? There are many more than 12 uh different check boxes that you could, mark for the multicultural spectrum, like Jewish,
Hundred
yeah,
hundreds of
black,
stuff though,
whatever.
yeah.
You could go down the list. I mean, eventually someone's going to get cut out. What about the Eskimos? You know? Do
Or
they
the
get a month?
Norwegian, yeah. Or what about Norway for the Norwegians or the
Yeah.
Irish? You know what I mean? I'm just saying
So
for all of
somebody's going
us.
to get left out and get pissed off. I don't want it. I got my holidays. I celebrate on my holiday, and leave me alone.
Exactly. I mean, I can tell you, as a Norwegian, Austrian, I'm an Austrian Jew and Polish and Norwegian. So I mean, I mean, like I know we don't have
All right.
much to celebrate though, kind of thing. But yeah,
Well,
it's crazy. Even at
nice
the
to meet you.
library.
Part of the tribe. Nice to meet you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Also, too, I've seen at libraries. I mean, I someone posted on social media at Cranford Library. They showed like there was condoms left in the in the lobby kind of thing, but somehow they removed it because I guess when someone posted on one of the closed groups, somehow they removed it after the pressures. So I guess they called and demanded, and somehow they removed it. Actually, I mean, I know it takes a lot of pressure for the parents to do that. I mean, I always encourage parents to embrace their voice because, parents have final say to what's going on in the public system because, they're hardworking taxpayers these days. You know what I mean? They put their money in and
Sure,
work. I mean,
sure.
you know, I mean, I always encourage parents to do that. Um, but yeah, also too, what's your takes on the uh, Department of Ed dismantled? I mean, I know that Trump said he wants to
I'm
get it off federal
all for
level,
it.
but give it back to state. But yeah, but giving it to state levels because a lot of people are confused about it. Like, I mean, I've seen people in some towns, like liberal cities, they're complaining about, oh, how are the kids going to be fed? But I guess Department of Agriculture, I guess they provide the food for the kids, right? I mean,
I
with
went
the
to a Tesla
categories, I don't know how that works.
takedown rally in Teaneck, and that was one of the
Mhm.
questions I was asking these people, but they didn't understand what was actually happening with the money. I'm like
Yeah,
it's going to the states. It's just going to, you be distributed to the states.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's
I
like,
they think
yeah,
that he's like keeping it under his pillow or something like that. I'm like, the money's not gone. It's just a matter of reorganizing, like which just be controlled at the state level. That's all.
yeah. I mean, I know under Trump's administration, he wants to make sure everything gets off the federal bench. I
Right.
mean, it doesn't mean he's getting level education. They know where the money, and the taxpayers' dollars should go
Yeah.
towards where the system goes. I mean, not to the bureaucrats. I mean, it's
Right.
crazy what's happening.
Well, it's the same thing with abortion. Okay. States are going to decide, how they want to handle that issue. So with education, states will decide how they want to handle the money. Um, Unfortunately, blue states will probably suffer in
Mhm.
education. It's unfortunate, but they better realize that real fast that their policies are horrible for our kids, and maybe that'll light a fire under the ass of the residents here in this state. And I'm really praying that they vote in a red state governor. We need a Republican in New Jersey for education, especially because most of our tax dollars, everybody knows, goes towards the school systems in your town. And education is very important, and New Jersey is suffering. And
Yeah.
if we don't straighten out what's going on in our education system in New Jersey, people are going to leave faster than they're leaving already. People are leaving the state.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are leaving because the education system and also property taxes, a lot of issues. I mean,
Oh
like
yeah,
even the parents are going down to South Carolina or Georgia or Florida because of the blue state policies, and New Jersey is considered the highest property tax in the country, but also too, I mean, the education scores are low because of that. I mean, parents wants to
yeah.
move down because I know DeSantis in Texas. I mean, parents are moving to states that have, school choice. So
High taxes, shitty education, and now Phil Murphy is leaving us with a redistributed tactics with the utility bills. So it's going to be based now on your property values. And a lot of people's electric bill, their gas bill, everything's going to shoot up. If you're a corporation or you run a small business, okay, it's going to affect you too. So people aren't happy in New Jersey, and New Jersey really needs a change. It needs a change for the better.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think they should, though. I mean, parents need to speak up about this. I mean, I even told a lot of parents, speak up, do independent research, look up the candidates. It doesn't matter, like look up candidates, look up policies, find out the pros and cons, and then make sure we get a Republican candidate, someone who can defend the parents' rights and issue. You want to make sure no one's, not like pandering to the Democrat policies. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm all in favor of school choice. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of good, how you heard about school choice, right? In Texas and Florida. I mean,
Sure.
it's really good policy. I mean, the money should go towards the child, it's not to the system and bureaucrats, because I think they had a $10,000 voucher where they can go to any best schools in the state of New Jersey. And then, because I guess what's going on today, I mean, a lot of people's monies, they don't know where the money goes to. Someone said that, let's say, for example, if you're in Teaneck or other towns, for example, that money could be allocated to go to Newark or Trenton or Camden. Like we don't know where the money goes to. So that's why, it's school choice kind of makes sense because, it goes to the parents, to the schools, where it goes. So like if you want to send a kid down to a VOTEC school or STEM school, like any top schools in New
Right.
Jersey, that money should go there. I don't know. I mean, what's your take on school choice? I mean, I know a lot of teachers are concerned because they think it might affect their pays and stuff. Do you think that's true or no?
It could be because if if the school district isn't doing well education wise and you get a bad rap and nobody wants to go to your school, it's going to affect you. Okay. If you have a good reputation and kids are doing well and they're scoring high,
Yeah.
all right, that school is going to have a good reputation. Um, I'm not that brushed up on the state policy with that law, but so I don't want to speak on something that I'm not
Oh, no,
very familiar with. But
oh, no, I got you. I totally respect that.
um, I would imagine that that might be one thing that could pinch people who are unionized, who think that their jobs are like insulated just because they're under a union umbrella. But it could pinch them in a way because districts might feel a squeeze financially,
Yeah, I mean,
in one direction or another.
yeah, a lot of teachers work so hard though. I mean, there's some teachers, like I said, there's a lot of good ones that care so much for the education, who'd be on the same page with you, but there's some that would go rogue kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Right.
we want to make sure that, it's all best for the kids though. I mean, as long as they appropriate the money and budgets, even agriculture. I mean, we've seen agriculture providing the schools food for the kids though. So I mean, I think it's all about education freedom. I mean, we want to see what's best though. But yeah, I mean, is there any plans you think we could see in the next 4 years or eight for the schools?
In what
Uh,
regard?
I mean, it could be anything like, what do you think the schools could be improved actually, like with the policy? I mean, what would effect would be, if once Department of Ed gets dismantled, I mean, what do you think the effects would be?
Um, I mean,
Like
it's
teachers'
definitely going to shake
standpoints?
things up. I look, the purpose in doing that, in my opinion, is really to rattle the cage, is to get
Mhm.
uh, decisions made on a more regional level that are more responsible. Because take New Jersey, for example. Um, they're sucking the teat. You know what I mean? They're on
Yeah.
the dole. It's government money, and when other people are using other people's money, we know the thing from the famous economist Milton Friedman. There are four different ways of spending money. When other people spend other people's money, it's the most irresponsible you could be. So it's a way of forcing states to be more responsible with their money. I think that's one of the purposes in doing what they're doing. It forces residents, parents to get more involved and put pressure on the people that are making the decisions about education in New Jersey. I think New Jersey's going to get a serious reality slap once they have to deal with this. And they're going to have to, they're really going to have to prove to the residents of New Jersey that they're being responsible with the money and the distribution. So in that respect, I would expect a little change, but it is New Jersey. It is a blue state. Even if we have a red governor, we still got a lot of blue people under him, and there's still those checks and balances. So we'll see. Government and the way government works was always meant to move very, very slowly. So people on our side, we have to keep the foot on the gas. We always have to keep the pressure on. I know a lot of people, politics is boring. And sometimes people
Exactly.
only show up for presidential elections and they think that everything's going to be okay. No, it's not okay.
Mhm.
The smaller elections are what matter because that's going to move the needle more. We
Yeah.
need people to show up for these small elections, whether it's school board, whether it's mayor, councilman. We need people to move the we need people to move the needle on the grassroots level, on a more local level, so we can see change. And yeah, that'll force the Department of Education in New Jersey to at least, I think, try and be more responsible in how they appropriate funds.
Exactly. I mean, we all believe in responsible, fiscal responsibilities when it comes to budget. I mean,
Well, not
kind of
just
funny. I
that,
mean,
it's also uh, uh, I mean, yeah, you could say that, but it's also how we're teaching our kids. Okay. We
yeah,
don't want a lot of this money going to DEI and woke garbage.
mhm, exactly. Yeah.
That's what I think. I think a lot of parents are sick and tired of that. You're seeing more and more people come out like me that are sick and tired of it. And we got to push back and make sure that at the state level that they support those decisions so it's easier to get rid of it on the local level.
Exactly. I mean, not a lot of parents realize. I mean, not many liberals realize about this. Okay, you heard about the history of Department of Education, though. I mean, right. I mean, it all started with Jimmy Carter, but before he was in office, everything was fine. How it was no problem. But a lot of people said when Department of Education was created by Jimmy Carter, things went south. Went bad
Well,
for
under his
nationwide.
administration, yeah, that's when it was created. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why. I mean, because I think I don't know, somewhere on social media, one of the teachers or parents brought this up. They said that when Department of Ed was created, it went downhill for a lot of teachers and parents and the schools. But they said they were better off before Department of Ed was there in the first place. But now they, like some of them are old
100%.
school. Yeah.
100%. We didn't always have a Department of Education. People have to realize that. And our education system was better. Our children were smarter. Our children were doing better. They were
Mhm.
more successful. They were more well read. We were number one in education around the world before the establishment of the DOE at the federal level. And now,
Mhm.
after so many years, however many years it is, 40 something years. Okay, now we're suffering. We're not number one anymore. We've taken a nosedive. I think we're somewhere between 20 and 30, maybe like 26, something like that. I don't know. You could look it up. It's irrelevant. It's just, it's
Yeah.
bad. China's kicking our ass. Japan is kicking our ass. Russia's kicking our ass. Everybody's kicking our ass and they're laughing at our kids. Okay, while their kids are becoming rocket scientists and incredible innovators, and they know how to actually do things and they can survive in the wilderness. Our kids are worried about what gender they are.
Exactly. It's crazy though. I mean, even people who are spending $300,000 on universities and then they're teaching kids to identify, this person, what gender the
Right.
person is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what are you going to do with a gender studies degree? Who gives a shit? You can go wipe your ass with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy though. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, even what's crazy too. I mean, Phil Murphy was talking about Department of Education. It's unconstitutional, but nothing in the Constitution said about creating Department of Education. You know how, the Constitution was created years ago, like hundreds of years ago, 1776, but nothing says about education, you know what I mean? So it's crazy how they're trying to come up with they care about the Constitution, but it wasn't really in the Constitution, you know what I mean? I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know what he
crazy.
was
Like,
referring to or in what context he was having that conversation, so I can't really comment on it. But I do
yeah,
understand, yeah, there was no mention of it in the Constitution.
Murphy was like slandering Trump on his social media about like, it's unconstitutional about dismantling the Department of Ed, which is crazy, but I don't think
Okay.
they care about it. I mean, coming from a guy who talks about Bill of Rights above his pay grade, so
Yes, I remember when he did say that. He sounded like a buffoon.
yeah, so I mean this guy, I mean it seems like these guys are trying to brainwash everybody, telling them what's wrong, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, in their own views. But it's crazy though. I guess a lot of us kind of are fed up and we know the facts going on. But yeah,
I hope so.
hopefully for the better once, the DOE gets dismantled. That'll be a huge win for the parents and teachers and everybody.
I think so.
Yeah, so
And
it shouldn't
I
affect it.
think the
Yeah,
Democrats, they don't know it now, but they're going to be counting their lucky stars, once they see the results. I think it's going to be a good thing and move education in a much more positive direction.
exactly. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of parents are going to be excited, and teachers. I'm just saying. I mean, we're hoping for what's best for the kids. Education. So I mean, also too, with there being advice. I know you said after you're. I think you're saying after the kids are out of school, are you planning to run for a higher office in the future? Or anybody you
Me?
want to inspire
Absolutely
other
not.
parents? I got you.
Um, I know some people who might be running. We'll see, but no. After school board, for me, I got 2 something years left, and that'll be it for me. I'm not going to be running again.
Oh darn! If you run for state house, oh man, hey, we could use you on
I'm
like.
not going to be running for any office whatsoever. Look, it was a thankless job. It was a lot of work, and there's no pay. I got a business. I got a family to take care of. New
Well,
Jersey's
that's
not
good.
the best place to be. To settle things are very expensive here right now. So, I got a lot of things to focus on before
Exactly.
I dabble in government again. I don't think I'm going to go in that direction. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I really appreciate what you do, admire. I mean, it's always good to inspire a lot of parents. I mean, if any parents ask you for advice, I mean, if they run for office, any advice would you give them today, though, if they decided they want to run? I mean,
I would, but they're not going to take it. I would
like
advise them. What?
if it was like a conservative parents that wants us fight against the blue kind of district,
Well, I think if you're going to run for office, you really should have an agenda. You should have something that you want to fight for, and wear it on your chest like a badge of honor. That's how I think people should run. I admire people like Trump who aren't afraid to speak their mind to the public. Sometimes what you have to say and what you feel, you might know is unpopular, but you have to fight for what you believe in, and you have to be able to back it up. Uh, for me, the stuff with all the DEI and social emotional learning, all that nonsense, it's a distraction in the classroom. It's
yeah,
hurting our kids. I know that it's hurting our kids. All this stuff with the transgenderism, I'm very outspoken about it. If you're going to get into politics and you're just going to sit there and have your ass warm the bench, then what's the point? Get the hell out of there. A lot of people, they just do it because they want to put it on the resume. They'll do it because maybe they want to hear what's going on or have a say, but they're not really a shaker. They're not really a mover. They're just sitting there doing nothing. For me, I don't see the point in running for office unless you're willing to be a hammer. We got enough nails out there. We need more hammers.
Exactly. Yeah, we need more hammers. I mean, there's too many nails. Sometimes the nail could fall off or it's somewhere hidden. You don't know where it is. It's like
They're
needle in a haystack, right?
they're useless.
And
They're good for the votes, but we need we need pressure. We need people fighting for what's right out there.
exactly. I mean, like I said before, I mean, when you see stuff going on at the public library or what's going on in the schools, as long as
Yeah,
parents speak up, I mean, that helps fight for a change, because as long as it puts a lot of pressure in, though,
yeah.
thank God.
And going back to your question, because I feel like I didn't answer it completely, but what would I advise if someone were going to run? I would run with a message that's very clear about what you want to do. Um, I was very clear with my messaging. I even I even have wait, do I have my poster out there? What is it? No, but we were all about the kids, and I was about education, not indoctrination. Okay, that is a message. You know where I'm coming from. A lot of people, they have a very bland message. They have a very neutral message, and when you're neutral and you're just going to be a pleaser, I don't think that you're going to get a lot of attention, and people don't really know what you're about. So that election's going to go either way, and I think a campaign is, you know, it's kind of a waste of time. Just see what happens. Put your name on the ballot and sit back and see what happens. I don't think it's really going to move anybody or get them to go to the polls for you. Is where I'm
Exactly.
coming from. That's all.
Exactly. As long as everybody goes door knocking, talk to the parents, find out like what's bothering in the community. It's all about putting their voice in. I'm
Yeah,
sure when you did door knocking, has anybody ever told you like, wow, this is the first time knocked on a door though? I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
I didn't knock on
When you
one
first
door.
campaigned, you didn't?
I didn't
Okay.
knock on one door. I didn't have time to campaign. My other teammates, or let's say my running mates, they did the door knocking. They courted
Yeah,
me. I honestly like my work schedule is really it's bad. I work many hours, so I did not have time for that. I'm good for the votes and I'm good for the work, but I did not have that kind of time to campaign. And
same.
I got lucky
Yeah,
around the second time I ran. I got very lucky. We just ran uncontested. Probably because such a
yeah.
good job we did, right?
Yeah. Same like me. I could tell you, like, I had people knocking for me before because, I worked overnight jobs because it's not easy, though. We all got
Sure.
work outside. I worked at like 7 p.m. to like 7 in the morning, like working overnight at hospitality. But hey, we all got to do stuff actually. But I could tell you when I was door knocking, when I ran for assembly against Scutari's team, I know it was a blue district, but some people were saying, wow, you're the first Republican knock on doors. And I said, when was the last time anybody knocked on your door? And they said, not since last election.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's crazy though. That
Yeah.
was like when I lived in Linden, but before I moved up to Sparta. So I could tell you, like, I've noticed a lot of stuff got changed, with the demographics, from Linden to like Sparta. But yeah, even I seen parents speaking up in Sparta about some issues though. What's going on. It's crazy though. It's interesting though.
I actually heard so. I thought Sparta would be more conservative. I heard they had a little craziness going on up there.
I think they had issues with a warehouse before. Okay, this was going, they had a developer. Okay, a lot of people want to move up to Sussex County and up northern Jersey, conservative, because they want to get away from overdevelopments and warehouses being built. But now suddenly the town wants to get a warehouse actually, and the developers are threatening to sue for over $1 million just because the residents said no. That's crazy. That's why we all leave the city, just to get away from warehouses and overdevelopment with all these apartments, high rise, because they just want a nice
Okay.
quiet community.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Fighting the overdevelopment is very hard. That's another thing that we really need. Whoever's going to be governor in this state,
Exactly. Yeah.
God, you know, please, red red governor, Republican governor, because we need to stop
Yeah,
overdevelopment. We have to get rid of the Mount Laurel doctrine and all that stuff. We got to get rid of it.
I mean, you guys get a lot of pressure, right? I mean, you know how
I
you
don't
seen
even want to get
developers.
into what's happening in my town. It's pretty bad.
I got you. I could tell you. I mean, this happened in Linden and then Sparta. Actually, I could tell you Linden. Well, I used to be on the zoning committee and commission, but I'm not on there anymore, so they can't say anything to me now or cancel. But I could tell you you got away with one of the developers used the pilot program. I'm sure you heard about it through the school system.
I
They're
have not.
limiting kids. Yeah, so it's something that involved
Oh,
leaning on taxes.
yeah. Okay, now I remember because that came up during the one of the first meetings when the lawyers came from the town to talk to hundreds of residents that were very concerned. But yes, now I remember.
The
Now I
pilot
remember. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy with the pilot program. I
yeah,
could tell you from my town perspective, they wanted to have warehouses, but then they guaranteed about, oh, there's not going to be many kids in class, living in the apartments. But
right.
somehow some of the people on social media said that there's people lied about it, in the condos or apartments. There's kids living in the apartment actually, and then they're entering the school systems. You know how, because a lot of schools were concerned about overfilling the classrooms concerns.
Sure, sure. That's one of our main concerns on the board. In fact, my
It,
next committee meeting, I'm going to have to go over some of the policy because that's something that we're going to be evaluating. It's not an imminent threat because we haven't had that development uh, get approved yet, but we know eventually in the coming years something is going to get approved. Something is most likely going to get built there. There
yeah.
is going to be an influx of population and kids, and it's going to affect the schools. So yeah, we're going to have to prepare for that some way somehow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of parents got concerned. I'm sure some of the school board members would be concerned too. Like, hey, I mean, if they're going to do pilot programs and over developments, does it mean is a classrooms going to be overfilled, or do they have to expand the schools? Because you want to make sure, you know, there's enough room for kids to educate, but not have them sit on the floor or like not enough classes. You know what I mean? So it's going to
Right,
be very
right.
hard though. So I mean, yeah, that's why with New Jersey, I guess the big issues is with education overdevelopment. Overdevelopment affects education because overfilling the classrooms concerns. You know, what I mean, like it's
Sure,
scary
exactly.
though. So yeah, that's why I encourage a lot of parents. I mean, even when I was on the zoning committee, when I said no on some policies, because I had people asking questions, they're concerned, but nobody gave the answer, and I told them myself, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say no on the bill because I'm concerned about this, moving forward. They said it was variance, but I said, well, people want to know about the trees and also overfilling the classroom. So I said no. And the city administration pressured me into resigning. And I said, nope, I'm not. I mean, people have rights and concerns, what's going on. And I told them, we're getting pressured from the public. I could tell like, I'm sorry,
No,
but
good for
they're all
you.
looking at me. And I told them like, I'm not going to listen to the establishment or be someone's puppets kind of thing. I told them these people have concerns and I'm sorry, but I told them I don't feel comfortable approving the bill until I get experts, to know what's going on. Like, I want experts to come. So I told the mayor that. And I guess they brought more experts in, to do that because they want to expand the schools.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all about, fighting for what's right, though. But yeah, I did resign on my own term because I'm moving up to Sparta. I told them, sorry, guys, I'm moving to a red district. But yeah, it's crazy that I'm sure we had our fair share of stories from other districts.
Oh yeah. Well, it affects the property value also. If it's going to affect the schools, then it's going to affect the property value.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I know they said with taxes, I guess they said it comes from three. It comes from the town, the school board, and the county. I don't know. I think that's same in your area too, right?
Yeah,
So I mean,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
but yeah, it's crazy. And so I mean, as long as we can make our town affordable, that's all I care about. I mean, we're trying to encourage everyone to be on the board. I mean, sometimes the county could be liberal commissions kind of thing, but hey, work with the school board, work with the city, make it affordable. Don't force them to flood the state.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy though what's going on though. But yeah, anything else going on like to add?
No, not really.
Like ticked off, yeah.
Not really. At the school, no, not really. Looking forward to summer.
Oh, same though. Same with me though. I still got to work in the summer, but at least you don't have to do a lot of stuff in the summertime.
For school, but
For school, yeah. I mean,
yeah, I'll still be working.
definitely, yeah. Same with me though, actually. But we still got to keep the fight though. Fight for what's right though.
Definitely.
But yeah, as long as we build the grassroots, I mean, I think that's important though. I mean, I think, with parents, the most important, we need to get a grassroots of conservative parents, to fight for what that's right for the kids though. I mean, a lot of people realize, I mean, as long as they run for the school board, run for council, run for anything, I mean, because it all starts at a local level, then it goes high up to federal. So, I mean, that's why we're
Right.
trying to encourage parents,
At the
speak out and
very least,
concern.
if you just have a concern, just show up to your local school board meeting. Just show up. Show
Exactly.
up.
I mean,
Speak at the mic. Nobody's asking you to run for office, but like if you have a concern, show up. Or don't even show up, even a lighter load. Write an email. Write an email to the board.
exactly.
Something.
Exactly.
But if
Yeah.
you
We see.
care about
Yeah.
what's going on in the schools, you know, if you stay quiet, don't expect anything to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Middletown when they kind of closed the doors on the parents before.
I did not.
It was some issues. I think it was Middletown or Morris. I'm not sure, but I know there was a meeting and then I guess they kind of closed the doors or something. Like they had police showing up.
Why did they do that? How can they do that? It's a public meeting. No?
Not sure. Not sure how though. I guess there were some concerns that it was on 101.5 article or somewhere around there. So I'm not sure, but if you look it up, it was crazy. It was like all over social media. So I got to ask our friend Wake Up NJ about it. But hats off to you, man. If you're watching this video, shout out to you as well. I mean,
Mike's a good guy.
oh, definitely. That's why I like you guys. I mean, you guys are one of my favorite guys on, X, actually social media,
He's a lot
speaking the
bigger than
truth.
me. He's always
Yeah.
on, man. Always.
He always is.
I
I
don't know where
always
he gets
tell
the time. I don't have that kind of time. But he's a good
exactly.
guy and he's definitely a good voice. And I'm glad we have him on our side.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as we're on the same page, on that. So, I mean, I'm sure you saw what happened in Linden when they, in city council, I guess, remember how they had to cancel the meeting, because they had policy issues.
I didn't see that one either.
Yeah. If you look up Linden, New Jersey, I guess they had the Hasidic groups actually, I guess they got mad because they were trying to change the rules about like, housing development. They're trying to have like where people can have bathroom and bedroom in the basement or some other, it was some weird rules. But if you look
Right.
up Linden
Okay.
lawsuit, it's crazy though. I mean, I can tell you I used to live in New Jersey, but but hey, if they say anything to me, don't care. I just moved out of Linden because it's crazy what's going on in politics. But they had over 200 people doing it outside and they had to cancel a meeting and on a Tuesday and do on a Friday at a school auditorium
Oh, so they had to cancel the meeting. Well, that's something else. Yeah,
because it
that
was
makes more sense.
because the fire marshal said because of like fire code issues and everything, and they had to move the
Right.
auditorium. And I guess they try to limit people from entering, but it's crazy. I mean, hey, this is what happens if anybody's pissed off. That's why. I mean, I got to inspire these people. Like, at least they came and spoke about the issues. I mean,
Sure.
if you're
Yeah.
pissed off about something, kind of like city
Show it.
council meeting, show up to school board meeting, show up to anything, speak up concerns. I mean, it's all about informing everybody what's going on today, though. I mean, that's what we got to do.
It is.
Exactly. So anyway, wow, it looks like it's around this time. But hey, I really appreciate your time on the show, man. Talking about the issues going on and also any last message or advice you would give to the parents, kind of thing, like last message, inspirational
Just
or
what I
something.
said before, don't stay quiet. If there's something you really believe in or something you're concerned about, just at least write an email to the school board.
Exactly. Yeah.
But is what I'm telling everybody when I'm talking in a public forum before I go, please, 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 just get out and vote. and vote red. We need a Republican governor. We need Republican assemblymen, Republican mayors, Republican councilmen. We need to flip this state. There are a lot of people who are very passionate about their candidate, especially for governor. It's become a very contested race. And I just heard one person at a meeting. I was at a meeting with Scott Pressler, I think a weekend or two ago, in Paramus. And he came out to speak to some very enthusiastic people who are trying to also get the vote out, early vote action. And there was one guy there, and he was very upset about, if his candidate loses the primary, that maybe he's not going to get out there. He's going to be very upset. And that just blows me away. One thing that the Democrats are really good at is sticking together. And I would just like to say, if you're giving me the opportunity for a final message, okay, we got to show them up on that. We got to show them that we can unite. Leave your sour grapes at home. I don't care who the hell your candidate is. Great. If he wins, great. If he loses, sorry, it wasn't for you. Get over it. But in the end, you better, I don't care who you are or who your candidate was that lost, you better get your ass off the couch and get to the polls and vote red so we can flip New Jersey. That's my final message.
Cheers. Amen to that, though. Oh, sorry. My green screen on that. I was going to say cheers on that, but anyway, thank you guys. I hope everyone had a wonderful time, and also too, thanks for having you on the show. And it's just like you guys know, this is not an endorsement whatsoever. We're just talking about the issues in going on New Jersey education and politics.
So yeah, no endorsement.
Yeah, no endorsement at all.
Thank you very much for having me, Hans. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You gotta have a good one. Bye.
You too.
Hey,
Take
Sam.
care.